Well, hello, it's my day off. My hair is all a mess because I have limited time. Now, we're going to talk about the One Ring one more time because it's been pointed out that there is possible taxes that will be needed to be paid. There's a lot to cover in this topic, so I'm going to dive into how the One Ring that was found here in Canada possibly is an illegal lottery, and how many more things can come from this. Why that new ring bearer is probably having night headaches at this point. Well, of course, the one organization or the one media outlet that actually nailed it for what could happen with this One Ring is Polygon, out of all places. The One Ring, forged in the fires of Mount Doom, will likely be taxed at 49%. This was pointed out to me in DMs with a friend. There's a lot of things here. In Canada, when you win a prize, when you win a lottery, it's not taxable. But what is taxable is if it's considered a capital gain. Now, we have here in Canada, or where I am, we always have what's called the Full House Lottery happen all the time. It's you pay like $100, you get a ticket to this lottery where you can win like a multi-million-dollar house with like a Corvette, some money involved, and all these other things in there. Once you sell that house, because when you sell a house, you then could pay capital gains on the sale of that house. That's where this is coming from. Once the One Ring is sold, the Canadian government will want to step in and say, where's our money? Where's our taxes? And that's where plays out. So in particular here, they're saying the One Ring, if he sells it, then it's going to be possible 49% tax. Saying, so if they sell it for 2 million, it then would be like $490,000 taxable to the Canadian government. That's a very large sum. Um, Now there is one way to avoid this, and it's to inherit things like this. It's to pass it down and keep it going. So time is one of those things that could be bought in this sense, to just not sell the ring, to keep it locked up and safe for a lot of times. However, that money is life changing, and this is one of the details with it. Now, as for the legality of a prize claim, well, so the one-on-one ring could be seen as a prize by a court of law along with the other serialized cards, because they're serialized and they're all like this major prize. I think one of the dwarf rings recently sold for, or was offered, $13,000. These are in essential sweepstakes. They are a contest, a promotional contest in the packs. And this is why there's a lot of legality issues at this point, where people are going, wait a second, let's step back and take a good look at the legal definition of it. So, three things make up the gambling aspect of the packs. One is a prize. In this case, you have the One Ring, you also have the other serialized cards. The element of a chance in determining a winner. So, opening the pack, you pull your card, and it is the prize. And three, the consideration, some type of payment or activity to participate, is an illegal form of gambling. Now, this is something I'm getting from blogs, from many different places on the internet. Now, with the criminal code, 206 of the criminal code, which we covered in recent videos, over this, they state a lot of things where their distribution, how things lay out. Now, the other thing I have found is there is a possibility that Wizards of the Coast will be looking at up to a $10 million fine if this is deemed illegal. So I found a blog from September 7th, 2016 about be a winner complying with Canadian contest laws. And they run down and say, with the rise of social media, more contests are happening. And this is one of the reasons why there's quite a few people that probably don't run contests, in Canada because there's a lot of legal loopholes that you have to go through. On top of this, it also breaks down why Quebec is usually omitted from these types of contests, mostly because you now have to translate the rules to French. And secondly, Quebec actually requires you pay a fee to run a contest. So that in itself makes things a lot more different. So in Canada, usually there is a skill testing question that goes along with these contests. Usually, if you're winning a big prize, if I'll give an example here, you go to a liquor store and they've got boxes everywhere in this liquor store where you can enter to win a golf bag, a iPod, a iPad, a computer, some free beer, some stuff. If there's any type of contest like this in Canada, there requires a skill testing question. This is as simple as 1 + 1 equals, and then you give the answer. That's how simple the skill testing question is, because a contest needs to be awarded via skill and not by just generating, like, first it's the luck of the draw and then the skill to actually award the contest. Now, no purchase necessary can be used as a legal loophole by having it a situation where people can just enter. You write in and say you enter, you get an entry for free. This is mostly for games of chance that are free to play in that situation, and not so much where you have to actually buy something for it. In order to avoid the aspect of a legal lottery provision, the contest should provide that no purchase is required to enter the contest and provide a no purchase necessary method of entry. That's one of the suggestions that they have here in here. Failure to comply with the criminal code provision on illegal lotteries can lead to being found guilty of an indictable offense, which may involve a term of imprisonment of up to 2 years, or an offense punishable on summary of conviction. They also talk about the Quebec and now the Competition Act and the contest rules. The Competition Act provides promotional contests that do not disclose the number and approximate value of prizes. In this case, where the prize isn't known, they just say they can give an estimated value for it. Now, looking more into serialized cards, there is a lot of serialized cards when it comes to football, baseball, and hockey cards and sports memorabilia, and they have these blind boxes, these big boxes, and they sell for brand new, unopened. They sell for like thousands of dollars, and then the most I've seen out of it is something worth upwards to $5 million out of these things. So there is the precedent in that situation where these blind boxes are something that's there. The details, everything gets broken down. There's a lot more legality with those compared to like a booster pack. But in this certain situation, the contest rules should address the requirements by clearly setting out any regional allocation of prizes. So if it's regional, like this area of the world has these many prizes, you've seen this with potato chips prizes in the past. The number of and value of the prizes, the value of these cards are unknown because they continue to rise over time. But at the time of production, you can give an estimated value, or you can just say they're priceless, or something like that, or it'll they give you out some legal jargon that it's going to be based on where you located and how the market fluctuates with it. If you look at like getting a prize where you get a free trip to a certain location, depending on where you are in the world, that trip is going to go up or down. So it's a sliding scale, and it is open to that interpretation. In addition to any material information on the effects of chance of winning, so if you haven't noticed over the recent few years, booster packs actually now have a one in situation to pull a mythic or a rare out of the booster pack. Legally, this has to be on it to not be deemed illegal gambling. Timelines and process to award prizes. Well, the timeline was until the thing was pulled, and the process was it was instant. Um, Failure to comply with provisions of the Competition Act regarding promotional contests can lead to onerous fines up to $750,000 for individuals and $1 million for each additional after that, and $10 million for corporations and $15 million for each order after that. That is insane. That is a lot of money. The contest rules can also be used to limit risk and liability exposure to a contest sponsor of various aspects. For example, if the contest involves participation, making submissions such as an essay, yada, yada, yada. And then there's more where they talk into social media as well. Now, Canadian law does dictate promotional contests, and this is a promotion. This is a promotion that was run in the Lord of the Rings booster packs for the collector's boosters. You can't say that there wasn't a prize awarded, and you can't say that the one of one ring wasn't a prize, because it was. And that's where it really does come down to it. Now, with the introduction of the promotional contest, the purpose of the Competition Act is to maintain and encourage competition in the Canadian marketplace. Section 7406 is one of the false or misleading representations and deceptive marketing practices provisions of the Act. These provisions aim to promote fair competition in a marketplace by discouraging deceptive business practices and by encouraging the provision of sufficient information to enable informed consumer choice. The Act applies to most businesses in Canada, regardless of size. Now, Wizards of the Coast is a business in the States, but they do operate in Canada, and that is where the kind of differences may lie. The publication outlines the approach of the Commissioner of Competition in taking in enforcement the promotional contest provisions of the Act. The guidelines contained in this publication are intended to help general public, businesses, business people, and their legal advisors to better understand the Act. So promotional contest provisions of the Competition Act. They get into the actual fines here, where it is, and then they do talk about with Part 4 here, purchase requirements as a condition of participation. So this is where you're purchasing a booster pack to participate in this prize allocation. In addition to complying with 7406 of the Act, it should be noticed that contests must be lawful as it relates to other federal and provincial statutes and local bylaws, mostly Quebec. The Criminal Code is one federal statute which deals with contests under Section 206, which is part of our Criminal Code, and should be considered along with requirements sections of 7406 of the Act whenever a party proposes to conduct a contest. In the Criminal Code, in relation to lotteries and games of chance, the Criminal Code states, 2061, everyone is guilty of an indictable offense and liable to imprisonment for a term of 2 years. F disposes of any goods, wares, merchandise by any game of chance or any game of mixed chance and skill in which the contestant or competitor pays money or other valuable consideration. In effect, this section prohibits a requirement that the product or service be purchased as a sole condition of contest participation. Where other means of entry are available, such as using a reasonable hand-drawn facility or obtaining entry forms by means other than making a purchase, illegal contests under paragraph section 206(1)(f) are avoided since the purchase requirement has been removed. And you see this with Monopoly from McDonald's. You can get Monopoly tokens by writing in to McDonald's, and they will send you a randomized Monopoly token. That is one of the reasons why in Canada they do this. In this situation where the one ring literally was awarded in a booster pack, it may have been illegal. Now, I know, there's been many discussions saying, well, with booster packs and Magic the Gathering, it's been around for a long time, and there's been mythics and everything that gets pulled from it, and things gain value over time. There was recently with Neon Dynasty, it was one of the newer sets, Neon Dynasty, where you could pull like a super ultra rare version of a card that sold for about $1,000. Well, here's the major difference with that was it was not widely known how many of those particular cards were out there. We know they're super rare. They gave the details on what the percentage was pulling a mythic and a different version of this mythic out of the packs, and in a lot of cases they only sold for about $1,000, which in a local game store, if the local game store is selling it, then they pay taxes on it. So taxes are still being paid. And in that case, because there's multiple versions of it, it's out there. It's just seen as it's overlooked. It's not really something where the Canadian government's going to sit there and hammer down on it. You get into these multi-thousand-dollar cards and million-dollar cards, now the ire of the government's going to go, okay, okay, you are now producing something that we want a piece of. Is this legal? What is the possibility here? The person that did pull the One Ring did lawyer up right away, which is great on him, be or her or whoever it is. It's great on them to actually do this because there is a lot of legal issues and loopholes that they are going to need to deal with. Namely, now is this seen as a capital gain? Is there going to be taxes that you're going to have to pay on top of this when you do sell the card? And hopefully he has a good team that will sit there and say, okay, you have this card, it's worth a lot of money. Where do we go from here? And they're probably spilling it out to him, or have been spilling it out to him for the last couple weeks. There's been a lot of people saying, why grade the card because there's only one? Well, you want to put it under glass anyway, you might as well grade it. And it's probably for the legality of it at this point, where the card is never going to be played, it's never intended to be played, so you want to get it graded, you want to get it sealed in that case because of it. There's a lot of issues in this case. Um, it's not you're no one's going to really know the details and the outcome unless it's pursued through the governments and through the courts. So it's a hurry up and wait situation with that to see if someone does step in and say, listen, what you guys did was actually in fact illegal, and it's going to be very difficult to say at that point. So until we actually see this goes in front of the courts, it's just a discussion. It's just something where we can say this looks illegal. Is it illegal? Unless someone actually states that it is through the court of law, we never will know. Honestly, I think Wizards of the Coast really did fly too close to the sun doing a promotion like this. It is a promotion. It was a prize. There's no denying that sense that this is the prize of the set. This is the prize. When it comes to other cards, it's just other cards. They're game pieces. They're not going to be seen that great. And in the long run, the Canadian government does get its value out of it because they do get some taxes paid through the sales in stores. So it's a very interesting concept in this case. Where does it go? How does this actually lay it out there? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts below. Let me know. I know this has been a long one. Thanks for sitting through it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am your proud Canadian Phoenix Cinder Shadow, and I will see you guys again next time.